Hey guys, it's Mike, the wrestling guy Smith. Um, the purpose of the video tonight, I know I've been doing a lot of videos tonight almost, but I'm actually gonna talk about Mortal Kombat because I haven't played the game yet, but I'll make my own review. Like I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna make my own review about the game itself, but I want to really talk about the storyline. I like it. I like the storyline because the first part I like about it, the idea of present versus like present and past and future colliding into one thing, which was not bad. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like the game's been out. The game's been out almost a month now, and Ed Boon he's a genius when it comes to storylines, and I like the fact that at least it's not like Injustice 2 storyline where it was focused on the evil. It was focused on Superman, but it was also focused on the evil Superman. It was also focused on other characters, but I kind of felt like they didn't really have a bigger role as much as the main five, like Green Arrow, Black Canary, Blue Beetle, Firestorm. Like I don't think they had a really good, like I don't really think they had a really good idea what to really do. And what I mean by that, because I'm taking a little bit from each game, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. It's gonna be a long video. I promise, guys. I'm not gonna make it too long. Might be 17 minutes in, but I gotta really talk about this because I really had to think about it before I buy the game. And I kind of feel that, and this is what I feel to my guts, that I think that I think two things. I think with Mortal Kombat story, and I like the idea that Ed Boon put the first, second, and the third, like the first, second in the game for Mortal Kombat 11, which means that Mortal Kombat 11, which means that he kind of went Mortal Kombat 1 with 10 a little bit, where it was like 25 years ago, like, see old, younger Raiden before he turned evil. And it wasn't like, and I feel like the character, like the main characters and the supporting characters have much bigger roles. I felt that Kodo Khan was trying to be like where he was trying to be like Aquaman from Justice League, where he was trying to take like he wanted to have Outworld as a free realm, rather it be enslaved, and rather they get amnesty, rather they die. I did like the time abilities. I did like the fact that Chronica was like considered an elder god, but she was the god of time, the goddess of time, which was cool. But I didn't. The one thing I didn't like was the fact that Raiden was becoming evil, and the idea with Raiden being evil and having Shinnok's Shinnok's amulet was cool. But the fact that he wanted to go to to go to Outworld and go to Shinnok's bone fortress and destroy it all, and him being his head on an altar where they're praying to it or whatever, which was fine. And I like Cabal being one of the guy, but he's actually back to normal. I just didn't. I just didn't like the fact that, like, I don't hate Liu Kang as a character. I don't. I just didn't like the fact that every time they kind of went back and forth, it was like Liu Kang dies, Raiden survives. Liu Kang dies again, becomes evil, becomes a revenant, goes through it again, which I didn't mind. I just felt like that story should have ended with 9. I think it just should have ended there, and it wasn't like the thing with 11. It was so much fan service, but I like the fact that they didn't forget the games that they before they went NetherRealm, before they became NetherRealm. Midway didn't forget the touch the stuff that brought them to the the fighting game ends. Which I mean by that, guys, is the fact that they brought fatalities into the game. They brought blood, they brought gore into a fighting game, which you don't see that anymore. And blood into a fighting game that's not Killer Instinct, that wasn't Street Fighter, that wasn't anything of its kind, and that was the best thing I've ever seen. And I'm gonna take a piece from what Ed said. He created Mortal Kombat because he didn't want to make. He made this fighter of different characters, of different like immortal gods against martial artists, Shaolin monks, and creatures that we didn't even think that was even possible. He made it because he didn't want to be another Street Fighter. He didn't want to be another Tekken. He didn't want another Killer Instinct. He didn't want anything. And I like the fact that they kind of took some bits from Killer Instinct with the time. They kind of took some bits with the heroes, but I liked how it wasn't just because this is what I like about the development of the characters, like Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage changes. Johnny Cage changed in the past, like I would say 11, like I would say 14 games, because there's one, two, so there's four reboot sequels. There's four reboots, which are Mortal Kombat 9, 10, 11. That's three, and then 12 will be the fourth one. But I don't. I think Mortal Kombat 12 will come out when it's time, when it's 2020. But the thing is that I feel, I feel that the development of Johnny Cage and the character itself, the character is him. Like Johnny Cage has changed a lot, and from being even Mortal Kombat 1 and when he came out of Mortal Kombat 1, he was cool to me. I thought he was cool. I just never got to play the first original Mortal Kombat because I didn't have a Sega Genesis until later in my life to get it, and I didn't know what Mortal Kombat was until I played 3 and I like 3. But I like the fact that the Mortal, like Johnny Cage is not a bad character. I love him. I like his the character, how they developed him, and how they made him not just a movie star. He wasn't being a dick. I just like the fact that he was Johnny Cage, but the Mortal Kombat 1 Johnny Cage was different. The Mortal Kombat 1 Johnny Cage and Mortal Kombat 9, I liked him, but I didn't really like him that much. And I kind of felt like he could have been something. And 10 kind of brought him up to a different ball. And what I'm kind of going in depth here, guys, but just bear with me. I kind of feel like this, right? Johnny Cage has changed a lot in the games. Like they've changed him so frequently that it's not even funny. And I didn't like the fact where how they like when Deadly Lines came out, it was 3D, but they made him feel like a wrestler rather than a movie star. Then they changed him, made him get blonde hair, brought him back in Deception, made him look like the same. And then Armageddon, they just said screw it and we'll just make him Johnny Cage. And I didn't mind that, but the thing what I liked with Mortal Kombat XI, which is 11, I liked about 11 was the fact that they got Mortal Kombat 2 Johnny Cage. It wasn't the first Johnny Cage because Mortal Kombat 1 Johnny Cage was already there when we saw him in Mortal Kombat 2011. And he was there and Sonya was there and Raiden was cool. Like I like that Johnny had a bigger role to fill. I like that they actually did everything they were gonna say. They kind of skipped over the last couple of games. They went into like Mortal Kombat like 1, then they went into 2, and like I like how 11 kind of plays into 2 and 3, but it's not UMK 3. It's just 3, where it wasn't Sonya from 2. It was Sonya from 3. And I like the fact because they took her out. They actually took her out at Mortal Kombat 2. They took her out and put her in 3. And the thing was that I liked how it was Mortal Kombat 3 Sonya, Mortal Kombat 3 Kano. Because it wasn't Mortal Kombat 2's Kano. Mortal Kombat 2 would have been white. I know that for a fact. He would have been white and he would have had hair, not bald headed. And the thing with them, which I liked how Kano, like past Kano, was still trying to be a badass, and I like the fact that he was a past guy. And I like the fact that Chronicle brought them back, where he brought Shao Kahn, and he kind of made Mortal Kombat 3 a big thing, but he kind of did where it was like it wasn't. I think Jax was a mixture between Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3 Jax. That I couldn't really tell, but Mortal Kombat 10's Jax, where he joined Chronicle just to get the help from for Jax to make it a better life, and I felt like him being there was kind of a waste. And meeting your younger self was cool. And I liked how Johnny Cage, like every time the younger Johnny Cage would get hurt, and then Johnny and the older one would get the scar or whatever, and they would heal. And the thing was, what I didn't like was that they did a lot of things that I liked and a lot of things I disliked. But I did like the Jade and the Kotal Khan thing because the relationship between those two, and I've never really gotten a Jade because the Jade was cool. I liked how they brought her back, and it wasn't as a remnant. It didn't feel like a remnant. Like the storyline, like the remnant Jade was fine, but I was done with the remnants because it's end. I was just done. I do want Striker. I would want to see a redesign of him because I want to see they'll introduce him into the story or just include like kind of make the story a little longer so we can see Stryker and Sindel, because I think they're gonna put them in. I think they're just gonna, because they're gonna give them a story. They're gonna give their individual stories, because I feel like Stryker could be there. I just feel like there's some there. There's something there they're gonna bring him back from. I really feel like there is gonna be a Stryker and there's gonna be a Sindel for this game, because we got it in 9. We might as well get it in 11. I'd rather have her there. And like I said, I won a lot of things. I like this the Shao Kahn against Kotal, and it wasn't like he no longer he didn't call him Kotal. He called him General Kota, Kotal. And I didn't like Onaga would have been fine, but Onaga was forced into it. I felt like he was forced. I felt like Blaze, Taven, and Dagon were forced in Armageddon because the story didn't make any sense. They kind of just skipped the whole generation. It was like nine. It was pretty much like 6 generations of Mortal Kombat, and I just feel like the storyline, like the characters, like I'll tell you, I did like the fact they brought Mortal Kombat to Kung Lao and Mortal Kombat 2, with Liu Kang, because he had the shirt, like the leather jacket and the shirt, which was cool. I liked how they did do the rivalry with, but I liked how they closed it a little bit because it was each different timeline. Like they went from, it was Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, and it kept changing every time. And then it went into Deception, and then it went into Armageddon with the Pyramid of Argus. And I didn't hate it, and it wasn't zombie Liu Kang, like it wasn't there, like it wasn't supposed to be there. I think Ed Boon being the way he is, like bear with me guys. He did it in such a way that the story doesn't feel forced. It feels like there's a nice like smoothness. It's like the beginning is a little slow, but it opens up. It gives you a minute to see what's going on with the timeline. It sees a little bit. And I was like I said, Mortal Kombat 11 was coming, and I knew it was coming with Evil Raid, and I knew they were gonna take some bits from Deception there too. But I really wanted to see, because Shang Tsung is coming back in some way, and they're gonna redesign him, or they're probably gonna take his Mortal Kombat 9 design and make the 10, or something they could do, which I believe they can do. And I just feel like there's something that they're trying to put, and I felt like it's not the stress. It's because they don't really do a lot, and I kind of felt like they got a lot of support. Like Devore had a much bigger role helping Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn had a much bigger role, and so does Kronika with Shinnok, because she would have brought him back from death. And I liked how they got Troy to do Shinnok's voice, because I knew it was Troy. So you know, and I knew they did it. I knew they got him, and I just feel like, here's what I feel like. Okay, the thing is with Aaron Black, I liked how they made him like a different person, but it was like he was more carefree, more a little like, more ruthless than ever. I liked how they got Kano's voice break. He kind of sounds like Nigel Thornberry, because I really think it is him. I really think it is him, but I don't know. But the thing is, like I said, guys, I don't hate Garrus as a character either. I just think he was just forced in there. I think him being a bruiser, like him being the god, like kind of like a sentinel of time, because I kind of feel like he was a time sentinel or some like a tank or something, because he would just never die. Like you blew him up. They like Sonya and past Sonya were trying to kill him and blew him up, and Jackie tried to kill him. They hit him with a forklift. He came back, and they brought him back. And the only way they had to kill this dude, like Rain was actually smart. He drowned him in the blood in the endless sea, which is endless, which he would float forever. Which I like the fact that they drowned him. I did like past Jacks. I like the fact that he talked about me, myself, and I. I really thought they were gonna put that song in there. I really thought they were gonna do uh psychedelic. I think it's funkadelic or psychedelic, something like that. But like I said, I really think we're gonna do that. But I liked how I liked how Ed Boon did the story in general, because Mortal Kombat is a great. It's just a hard way to get the story to work, and it wasn't like it was a lot of fan service. But I like the fact that the fan service was there, but they put a little bit of, like, they kind of sprinkled it in a bit. Like each chapter they sprinkled it in, like with Frost and Cyrax and Sector and the Takuna, because I like the fact they were there. Like even if it wasn't a conquest mode, it was there. Like the fact that they're gonna put Sector in the game, they're thinking about putting them both in there, and they're gonna give them like really unique, um, like variation in costumes. Meaning that there's some room for smoke. There's some room for there's a room for a lot of more characters now, and I just think that it wasn't overly forced. And that was the thing. And I kind of felt like because all the past mistakes that's happened, like Ed Boon is a genius when it comes to Mortal Kombat. I feel like he was. But all in all, guys, like I said, the story is amazing. It's amazing. I think you guys should. I think you would play it a couple of times. I think that Frost being like I do like Frost. I like her character. I like how they didn't put her in this in the ninja in the Sub Zero gear, like the Lin Kuei gear. And I just feel like the game itself is really good. I don't hate, like I said, I don't hate any of the platforms they're putting it on either. I don't like the Switch one because I think Nintendo is weird with video games like that, especially with fighting like Injustice and everything. Because they could have put Injustice on the Switch. I don't even think they did. I don't even think they put Injustice 2 on the Switch yet. Because I think they were just gonna skip it because it wasn't like Switch is not bad, but they can't get the it just can't get the quality. Sorry guys, they just can't get the graphics quality up because it's not Nintendo can only run at like 40p, which is like 40 to 30p. Because Nintendo is not like PlayStation. It's not like Xbox. It can run. The Switch is just like it's basically like a BMW. It's like a Jaguar, but the thing it's like a Jaguar, and it's great for its time, but it's just not there yet. And because the online capabilities are kind of lackluster anyway without a Wi-Fi signal, so you can't really go online. You can't really do the 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 towers as well as you can, as much as you can. And because you got to go into crypto, that's like most of the grinding you're gonna do for like new costumes, new moves, new everything. And it's like I want to be able to play. Like that's the thing. Like when I buy Mortal Kombat, I'm probably gonna play it for a while because I like games that I can actually sit down and play for a while and work on and take my time and not just try to rush and beat it because I feel like the game it's gonna play a factor. It's gonna play a factor. Like the game is really good. But anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Peace.